So today we've got a real interesting project. We're going to be insulating some wine tanks at a real nice winery here in southwest Wisconsin. Today we're going to be insulating some tanks. Another one of my favorite types of tanks. These are wine tanks. We're going to be utilizing a process of a high-density closed-cell foam insulation covered by an intumescent paint, which is required for any spray foam insulation that is left exposed in an occupied space. So what you'll see us doing first is you'll see us applying the foam insulation to the tanks, and then shortly afterwards, after the foam is completely cured out, we'll be applying a relatively thick layer of intumescent paint to ensure that we have the appropriate thermal barrier over the spray foam insulation. So here at the winery we have some interesting challenges. First off is the prep. We've got a lot of equipment, walls, ceiling, lights, you name it. All kinds of things inside this space. And we need to essentially create our own spray booth inside this building to contain all of the overspray, foam, everything that's going to be taking place inside here in order to appropriately and effectively insulate these tanks.
So what we're doing is we've got a stainless steel tank here used at a winery for a fermentation vessel, and we're applying about 3 inches of spray foam on the surface. You can kind of see the thickness and the texture of the foam as we're building up the layers to get to the target thickness. And what this is going to allow is it's going to allow for a much simpler and much more straightforward temperature control of the process, so that you can ensure a good quality product.
The spray foam insulation that we're using in this project has an R value of 7 per inch. We're applying a layer that's approximately 3 inches thick onto these tanks. So these tanks are going to be insulated as well, if not better, than most houses. Well-insulated tanks are not only good for wine, but also very good for beer, as well as a wide variety of other industrial processes, because almost all industrial processes require temperature control, whether we're trying to keep something warm or keep something cold. It's nice to have a well-insulated tank so that we don't need to be adding or subtracting a substantial amount of energy from the environment in order to maintain process temperature. Not only can spray foam insulation save energy when it's applied to buildings, but it can save energy when applied to a variety of industrial process equipment, such as tanks, ducting, other things along those lines. The foam is a very good alternative to the other types of insulation that are available. Typically for this type of industrial equipment, what we'd need to utilize is more of a foam rubber sheet, which needs to be pieced together, cut around all of the protrusions, around all the angles, all the joints taped and sealed, everything glued in place. It is very difficult to install, very time consuming, and doesn't provide near as good an end product, where we get a monolithic piece of very good insulating material with the spray foam insulation.